everybody. This is Shelley Hoffman with PAC-B TV, and I have with me Lindsay and Justin from Touching Hearts at Home. And you may remember they came to the PAC-B studio when we were allowed to be in studio and gave us the kind of a rundown of what they do and how they service our community here in Baldwinsville is one of their locations. So would one of you guys just kind of explain again for anybody that missed that episode what it is that Touching Hearts at Home does and how you help our community here?
Sure. Well, Shelley, first off, thanks for having us back on. We're happy to come in and kind of give everyone an update with how we're handling things throughout this whole situation here. So Touching Hearts is a non-medical companion care service for seniors in Onondaga County. Our mission is to help older adults remain safe and independent at home and help them avoid hospitals and rehab skilled nursing facilities. We do things like companionship, obviously, but light housekeeping, meal prep, transportation, laundry, errands. We do a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's care. And we're also able to do things like standby assist, which helps people get in and out of the shower, help them get on and off the toilet. We also do medication reminders. So we're all non-medical, and we've been in Syracuse for about 3 years now. We've got an office in Rochester that's been open for 13 years, and an office in Albany that's been open for about a year and a half. So full family-owned and operated business. My dad started the company. My uncle Mark, he run it now, and my two other uncles and my grandfather kind of round out the board of our company. So it's pretty great to have the family involvement.
That is nice because obviously, you know, you want to be able to take care of your family yourself. And if you can't, then, you know, having a company that is family based is probably one of the next best things. So I would think with COVID-19 that we're all going through with the social distancing, that has had a huge impact in how you can help the seniors. What steps did you guys have to take or what limitations did you have because of that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And Lindsay, chime in if I'm missing anything. But, you know, one of the first things we did was, you know, just continuing to stay informed about all the changes, because especially early on, things were changing every day on what the CDC recommended, what the state was recommending, federal government was recommending. So, you know, if anything, it did cause some anxiety for some of our clients. So they put services on hold for a little bit. Others, you know, we are essential workers for a reason, and some of our clients absolutely needed us at that point now more than ever. So if anything, we may have increased hours with certain clients and decreased with others. You know, our caregivers are phenomenal. They were willing to go in, and we're providing masks and sanitizer in all of our clients' homes, kind of beefed up our, I guess, health and safety guidelines and changed up some of our processes that we would normally go through just to make it safer for clients and caregivers. So it just continued. Our caregivers also get a health questionnaire before their shift, the night before their shift, and then when they clock in for their shift. And ask them 5 key questions, you know, one of which is, have you or anyone in your household been exposed to anyone with coronavirus? Or is you or anyone in your household showing symptoms of coronavirus? And then it's asking if they've traveled out of the country or if anyone in their household has traveled out of the country. So, we're asking people to take their temperatures before shifts. A lot of the communities we work in are asking the same screening questions and taking temperatures before the shifts. We're also, you know, paying our caregivers to go get tested if they wanted to. It's not a requirement for us, but some of the communities we work in are requiring that twice a week that our staff be tested, and we're cooperating with them and doing that. So those are just some of the things we've been doing, and obviously, you know, working from home for the most part until fairly recently, maybe in the last couple of weeks, we're slowly easing back into things, but just keeping our distance in the office as well.
You know, there's something that you had mentioned, Justin and Lindsay, I'm going to throw this question to you, but you work with clients, you said have dementia, Alzheimer's. You know, it had to be hard for them to understand that. I mean, you were always probably sanitizing and always clean, obviously, to go into work with them. But how did that impact them? Like, what changed? What did you see in them when all of a sudden they were coming and, you know, and they had these new restrictions put on them? Did that affect them at all, or how you could help them?
Mainly just the activities, especially in our facilities that we provide services to. You know, going to the dining room, meeting with their friends, going to the activities, whether it be crafts or playing cards. Many of our folks were restricted to their rooms. Family members weren't able to visit. So we've seen an increase in providing services to our facilities. That isolation particularly might have caused some more confusion. Our folks might not really understand why families can't come, or maybe they can just go to the balcony and say hello, not get close or give a hug. So fortunately, being an essential worker, we're able to go in and provide those services, provide that socialization, sitting down, eating a meal with them. So we're that connection, that bond with our folks, and providing that necessary information to our family members on how their loved ones are doing. So really, that's been the huge impact on our folks, and really trying to continue that socialization with them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that. That at least with you being essential, that's one piece of normalcy that they could have. Were you able to take on new clients while this was going on?
Yes. Yep. That process did not stop at all, whether it be in facilities or in homes. Even within homes, family members, might have had to take a step back because they didn't want to they might have had a fear of possibly giving something to their loved ones. They knew the precautions that we were taking. So we became very creative, whether it be grocery shopping, having groceries delivered, whether it be, just again, providing that socialization. And a lot of our family members, they take on other responsibilities that they had to shift, and they heavily relied on us. So our process didn't change. It was just becoming more, like I said, more creative.
And just chime in, just to add on to that, Shelley, we typically go into the client's home and do what we call an intake. And it's a home visit where we really try to get to know the client, get to understand their routines. We spend about 45 minutes with the clients and their families, whoever wants to be there. But, we were doing that stuff virtually. So we're getting a lot of information over the phone. We tried to. There are certain situations where it may have been necessary to go do an in-person intake. We also typically introduce our caregivers on their first shift. We kind of put a pause on that for a while as well. We go in and do home visits, more of a quality assurance type thing. And, we put a pause on that too. So a lot of things, just doing it over the phone, doing it virtually if we had that ability. So, and getting paperwork signed, through DocuSign instead of in person. So just a couple more minor operational changes that impacted us.
That makes sense because, through PAC and myself in the community, talking to attorneys and different people that do wills and estates and work with the elderly population like you do yourself, it was a challenge for them for the DocuSign and the Zoom, getting them to understand that technology. And before COVID, maybe you could have a niece, a nephew, one of their children come and explain the process, where really some of them, I would assume they're by themselves, correct? And you're trying to make that initial contact.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of seen it both ways, where sometimes family can be there to arrange a FaceTime call, but if it's in a community, a lot of the senior living communities have someone, a staff member who can go in and set up a FaceTime or a Zoom, or even if it's just setting up a phone call. Other times we're communicating directly with family members. It's just sometimes, given the cognitive level of some of our clients, it's the family members are the ones more involved with that.
Have there been adjusts through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, like with what you can do, or is it pretty much, since you were essential, however you could do it, and whatever needs patients have, you were able to, or did the phases affect you guys?
Yeah, so the phases, I guess, the only thing that really changed for us is coming back into the office. Our office is, kind of opening back up, and by phase 4, we'll be fully open. But in terms of our caregivers, again, we put those safety measures in place right away. And throughout phase 1, when they announced phase 2 and phase 3, we're still requiring masks, still requiring, to use hand sanitizer upon entering the home. throughout your shift, after leaving the home, taking your temperature beforehand. The health questionnaire is still a thing, and I don't see that going away anytime soon as long as this lingers. We'll continue to do it regardless of what phase we're in, especially the masks, which, touching on your kind of dementia question, some of our clients, that having someone come in with a mask can be kind of alarming, and if they've had bad experiences in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, seeing people in masks can kind of have a negative connotation sometimes. So that's been a bit of an adjustment, but I don't see it going away for us anytime soon. Keeping our clients and caregivers safe is one of our top priorities right now. So.
Yeah, you actually answered my next question, which was more of an opinion of how long you thought those precautions were going to be there, and especially with what you do. And I mean, that might be something that you're doing it longer than anybody else, or it just becomes part of the norm, right? To have those things in place.
Yeah, anything to just help people feel more safe and more comfortable. That's what we're trying to do. And we don't know how long this is going to go on, and there's so much uncertainty that we're just going to kind of keep moving along and with our policies and those kinds of things until further notice, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's good. It's good that you guys were deemed essential. I mean, obviously, I just couldn't even imagine the first time we talked. I don't know if it was almost a year ago, maybe, I'm not sure, but my dad had just recently passed, and I had told you that knowing people that are out there like that could have helped him was huge in a time of this pandemic. I can only imagine some of the friends that I spoke with whose parents live alone. They were, like you said, Lindsay, scared to bring something into the house. Mm-hmm. They would drop the groceries off at the front door. They would, talk to them from the street level, things like that. So there was a whole nother level where when you're taking care of a parent, when it's not a pandemic, there's a lot of anxiety into that you're going to, do something that makes their health worse. So again, having people like your organization helping our senior citizens is absolutely amazing. And there's things like Meals on Wheels, and different things that come out and help the community. But when they get to the level of care that you need, that's just a whole nother step in trying to keep them in their home as opposed to in a facility, right?
Right. And some of the senior care communities required at a 14-day mandatory isolation period for new move-ins. Some throughout over the last 2.5 months have had mandatory isolation throughout the community, and not all of them. And some are lifting those, some aren't. So you throw kind of the depression and anxiety and the social isolation, which are some of the key things we help with, in the mix, and for people that are really struggling with that isolation. And we can be a huge help for families and clients, and the communities, really, sometimes.
So even if somebody was in quarantine, you were still able to go in there and see them, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, different facilities have similar rules, but even if someone had to go to a required doctor's appointment upon return, they would have to go into a 14-day isolation period. So we're there to help with that, and keep them company and help that time pass.
Okay. So just for anybody who might be entering their parents or themselves into this time, can you go through the process of how, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how to get the services started or how to get more information? And I know we covered it before, but might be somebody new or different watching it today that needs this information.
Sure. Yeah, so the first step would really be to call our office, which can be reached at 315-503-4896. You'll get to connect with either myself, Lindsay, or our community relations manager, Allison, and we'll be able to kind of understand what your needs are a little bit better, and try to understand, what kind of hours you're looking for, what time frames are more of a struggle, or what time frames your parents or loved one needs more help. And from there, we would try to set up an in-person intake. Obviously, we're doing that a little bit differently, more case by case now. But we try to understand the routine, hobbies and interests. We want to find a caregiver that's going to be the right fit, the right match for your loved one. And, another option is to fill out a web inquiry form on our website, which is touchinghearts.com/CNY. And we'll reach out to you that way too. If that's going to be easier for you, we can communicate by way of email. But our goal is to just make sure you're comfortable with us moving forward and that we have a really good care plan in place when we start services and also have the right caregiver to meet the needs of your loved one.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else that you guys, either Lindsay or Justin, that you would like to put out to the community before we part ways today?
I don't, Shelley. I think we kind of covered a lot of stuff here. So I think we can be a huge help for just a couple hours a week for families. Other times we're available 24/7. So we help people at 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 3 hours a day, all different hours, and different clients need different levels of care. So we're able to help in a lot of different ways. So hope people keep us in mind.
Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate you both taking the time to be here. Zooming is a little bit different than the last time we spoke, which was in person, I believe, at the Bevo Library. But and people should reach out, even if it's just questions. If you're not there yet, the worst thing you can be is unprepared when that time comes. So to get that information in advance. So thank you both again for being here. And
Great. Thank you.
And let us know if anybody has questions that we can maybe give out to the rest of the community, have you guys on again, and I'll let you know if we get questions here at PAC-B, and we'll reach out to you guys with them. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Shelley.
You too, Shelley. Thank you.
Bye.